Yo, what is going on, Guardians? J-Man here, and today we are raging about the Destiny 2 Crucible Sandbox. Before I go on these rants, I always like to clarify a few points before providing constructive criticism in a semi-loud manner. Number 1. This is by no means an attack on Bungie and the devs. I love everyone that creates the shared world we live in, and I know that they're trying to make this the best experience possible. This is simply a way to provide much needed feedback. Number 2, I'm really trying to solely focus on the Crucible Sandbox for this video. So we're not going to get into things like flawless pool and matchmaking and rewards and all that jazz, even though those are other factors that contribute to sandbox choices. Now, normally I would write a detailed script for a video like this, but I'm just gonna hop right in. Recently, the Sandbox team literally stated that jumping while shooting a primary weapon is oppressive. Well, we must have really different definitions of the term oppressive, because this weekend in Trials, I was literally playing against Crota and Oryx, who had constant overshield barricades with teammates throwing healing grenades at them, to the point where it takes 1,000 damage to get a single defeat. And while I'm shooting my rinky-dink hand cannon at them to barely give them a scratch, they're blowing me to smithereens with an infinite ammo grenade launcher that can now one-shot in the Crucible. But sliding and jumping is the oppressive playstyle in PvP. And I've defended Bungie on many things in the past. They just need extra time to balance some things out. They accidentally shipped this a bit too hot, but it's getting to the point where it's impossible to defend their choices. Here's an example. The community made it very clear that we were not a fan of renewals and the absurd amount of damage resistance they provided. It slowed down gameplay drastically and made it near impossible to defeat people standing in a dust field grenade. And after months of providing feedback, they were finally nerfed. Hooray! But then, Season 17 launches with the classy Restoration Artifact mod and low cooldown healing grenades that are twice as dominant as renewals. It's just hard to believe that after months of complaining about damage resistance, Bungie goes ahead and provides the easiest method for folks to abuse. The tiered superstructure makes absolutely no sense with the 3.0 subclass model, especially with Bungie's push towards zone captures and trials. We're supposed to be going down the route of difficult choices that have pros and cons. But now, it's just build the strongest neutral game and slap on the shortest cooldown super with no questions asked. And I don't know if you've seen some of the ridiculous stalemates that happened this weekend with wells and bubbles just being popped on one another, but it's a complete joke. I miss the days where Bungie used to say, play how you want to play. Well, that ain't true if I ain't on the subclass with the shortest super cooldown. I understand that Bungie needs to ship out new features that are strong and worth it for people to invest in. But at this point, it really doesn't feel like they're truly thinking about some of the decisions they're making. Like, we're trying to increase the usage of primary weapons, but the level of healing and damage resistance is so ridiculous that only special weapons can take down these tanks. If Bungie wants us to take them seriously, then they need to start disabling gear and mods in PvP straight up. And I don't just mean something like disabling Lordly Splendor in PvP because it was too busted, but more of, hey, this classy Restoration Artifact mod is designed for PvE only. This makes it so that we're not hurting the build crafting side of PvE while retaining some balance for PvP. And if Bungie doesn't start doing things like this, then people are not going to want to come back for future content. Stasis was nothing short of a disaster. Void and Solar 3.0 were busted with no patches in sight. Arc 3.0 is a season away, and Lightfall could very well bring us a brand new subclass. Bungie, I love y'all to death. I've been playing your games for over 20 years, but please take our feedback into account for future releases. Set up some testing sessions with PvP-oriented creators to leave feedback before implementing into the live game. Leverage Crucible Labs to test out 3.0 subclasses to find out what's busted before going into the regular Crucible. Folks, I do apologize for the rant, but sometimes I feel like I just need to get these thoughts off my chest instead of tweeting about it all day. Feel free to leave your feedback down in the comments below, and if you agree with any of the points I made, help me out by giving the video a like. As always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the Cosmodrome.